Let's see what is behind door number 8.
Really annoying was how they handled plot twists with new characters that were just introduced to stir up trouble and merely plot devices. Especially in Season 2, I hated it how they treated promising characters and storylines. First of all, there was Amanda's family. Not only the story with her mother could have been far more intriguing if they ditched this initiative storyline. After they introduced her foster brother Eli James, the first really hoped we would get to know more about this part of Amanda's life. Instead, they brought us this very stereotypical flashbacks that looked like from a fairytale by the Brothers Grimm. And even the relationship between these two kids was not that much explored like I wished. I mean, what was that a conflict for both? Not only that he knows her true identity, but that he has no problem with breaking the law either.
Not at all the footloose dock boy you told me about. Is he, Amanda? You're not worried that I'm gonna mess things up, are you? I mean, you do remember who you're talking to, right?
Look, it's not that I don't trust you. I do. I've just worked really hard at starting over. And it seems like you have too. Antique books.
That's just a scam I run on dumb rich people. Also got them believing I graduated cum laude from Columbia.
It's quite the criminal record. Any relationship to Jesse?
Another cliché, I know. But how cool would it have been if he had become a partner in crime for her, not only to take down their foster mother from hell? I know with Aiden and Nolan the revenge team is already big enough. But thinking about the conspiracy net and the power of the Graysons, it would have not hurt to have another ally in this war. Then there was of course Aiden's backstory with his sister Colleen.
Her name is Colleen. She was kidnapped and sold by Dmitry Bladov, 1993.
Did they find her?
No.
I am still torn with this. Either it was too much of a new layer and could have been ditched completely, or if I hated the plot twist that she was dead all along, very foreseeable again by the way. 'Cause I would have liked to see Aiden reunited with his sister, as damaged as she might have been. After being sacrificed that long time. I guess they did not want to tackle this minefield, so they had chosen again the cowards or lazy way out. Either way, this storyline took too much place for this very unsatisfying end. But what really went nowhere was this field trip of Nolan finding Patrick's wife. What a twist that the gay character was married before. This really was supposed to end bad for the writers, and I am still wondering why they had to bring it up. It was bad enough that besides Nolan, every gay character on the show was some kind of shady. First Tyler, who had real serious issues, then Nolan's boyfriend from the past in Season 2, who was just there to bring up suspicion about working with the initiative but actually was working with Daniel to save Nolan from himself. And then Patrick, who became serious mommy issues with Victoria, and the most stereotyped backstory at all. Being a penniless artist with much talent but working at a bar and having violent tendencies because being the result of a rape. So yeah, the plot twists around Patrick were bad, really bad. And then we have Malcolm Black, the big bad from Season 4. Not only was he a really bad villain, not in the intended way. This explanation why David stayed away from Amanda and continued to keep her away was just so bad.
You owe me an explanation.
You're right, I do. The story about me being stabbed in prison as a cover to sneak me out is true, but it wasn't Conrad. It was a rival of his who was much worse. This man asked me to do terrible things. They showed me a photo of a girl that I thought was my daughter. He threatened to kill her if I didn't cooperate. But I can't be your father. It's too dangerous.
They made this big plot twist in Season 3 and obviously never though about how to explain this. Yes, the premise of the show was the same as the original story of Dumas, but they already did this with Emily, who came back from the dead twice. First, the metaphoric death being excluded from the Hampton Society because of the scandal around her father. And then literally after Formanda died pretending being her. And even worse, David was introduced as Father of the Year in these flashbacks, who just fell in love with the wrong woman. So why the hell would he not try to get back to his daughter? Especially since he knew that she was living in foster care and had many problems in her childhood.
She set another fire. It's worse than the last one. She's looking at least 3 years in juvie. You need to forget about me and focus on her. She's the only thing that matters anymore. You can't let her end up in a place like this, Nolan.
Like her long experience in prison. Not to mention the really bad idea to hook him up with Victoria again. He tells us himself that he had plenty of time in prison to analyze the conspiracy and the actions of the Graysons, including Victoria's actions. And he was suspicious about her. So why did he expect her to be honest to him? I get that he wants to reconnect with her because after the death of his daughter Victoria and their daughter Charlotte are the only family he has left. It would have been even more awkward to go trying to find his crazy ex-wife Cara. I mean, are they technical not still married? Anyway, season 4 was intriguing for me because of the scenes with Emily and her father. But the whole plot around this was just bad writing and I still try to ignore it when watching season 4. However, Malcolm Black and this little revenge plot of David at the beginning of the show is just too annoying.
You have had 2 years to plot your revenge on me. Is this really how you want to play it? As your ill-conceived trap in Miami proved, you're way out of your league, boy.
By the way, another surprising but really annoying plot twist was him shaming Nolan on live TV.
She never got the money, did she, Nolan?
Of course she did. Of course she did.
You lied to her. And you lied to me. And you stole her inheritance. When she turned 18, she was to receive hundreds of millions of dollars. But instead, she only got 100,000. That's quite a discrepancy, don't you think?
David, please. This is not the place.
I trusted you. I left the responsibility of my daughter's future in your hands. She died without knowing that you'd betrayed her. That you betrayed me. And for that, I will never forgive you.
Again, a very cheap and much unsatisfying plot twist. Because if Emily was not that cowardly and reluctant to tell the truth, this could have been prevented very fast.
Your lies finally caught up to me.
I can't believe he did this to you.
He didn't. You did. Because you're still keeping him in the dark.
Much worse, it gave Victoria the upper hand and made David stick to her even more. Another thing I hated about the Malcolm Black storyline, Victoria's intervention and David's secrecy. He tells Nolan and Jack of all people about this, but not his wife and daughter. I mean, he knows they are in danger and the first targets. So why not at least warn them about this very bad psychopath who is after him for stealing his money? Again, a repetition they made too obvious by showing us this flashback of him and Victoria stealing money from his boss Conrad. How shady does this make him look? I mean, all they do in season 4 is ruin this character so that we almost see his death not as a punishment for innocent Amanda but for all his crimes. I mean, he killed 2 people at least, Conrad and Victoria. Probably much more for Malcolm Black, and instead of earning money in this surely good paid job at Grayson Global, he steals money and his wife from Conrad. I begin to understand why Conrad chose him to take the fall.